we are finally making salsa, people. Wait, you didn't think I was just gonna give you the most amazing salsa recipe just like that, did you? Well, to tell the story right, we need to go back to March when this garden bed was filled with nothing more than a lot of dead plants. Or so it seemed. Pretty stoked the first few weeks afterwards because everything looked really good. The plants looked great, they were taking off, they were growing, and I started to feel like this was a really good idea that actually might work. Alright, we got our first ripe tomato. Yay, look at this beauty. Oh. Look at that. Okay, I'm just gonna... Oh, I dropped it. Now, there we go. Look at that. Yes. So just when I thought, okay, everything seems to be under control, it's all looking up, and then we experienced a stroke or two of bad luck. I came out to the garden one evening and spotted some pests attacking my tomatoes, as well as some tomatoes with blossom and rot. And so I knew I was going to have to do some research and definitely take action fast if I wanted this garden to succeed, and especially if I wanted homegrown salsa. So quickly I jumped into action, and I first thought, okay, they're probably not getting enough water. So I increased the water supply. I switched out my drippers from 1 to 2 gallon drippers, and I adjusted the watering schedule. I also placed mesh bags over the bunches of tomatoes to help keep the birds and pests away. And next I also used some Captain Jack's Deadbug Brew Dust and Rot Stop to get a handle on the pests and blossom end rot once and for all. And thankfully it was just the right combination to help my tomatoes continue to survive and produce, and before I knew it, we were having tomatoes coming out of our ears, you guys. So what I learned from this experience is that tomatoes are pretty heavy feeders, especially when they're growing, and especially when they're growing their fruits. So needless to say, I learned a lot from this experience, and I thought I would share some resources by giving you guys some free downloadable graphics. The first being the essential nutrients of tomatoes and what products you can buy to help keep your tomato plants nice and healthy, and the other being pest and blossom and rot control and the steps that I took to combat these challenges. And you can find both of these on our website, luckycatcreations.com, and I'll be sure to place a link for you in the description below. Well, that makes me so happy. So I'm just super thrilled to be able to be coming out here and being able to pick my own ripe tomatoes. This doesn't get any better than this. So hopefully pretty soon we're going to be making some salsa. We'll wait a little bit longer for things to continue to ripen and go from there. And then I started just harvesting tomatoes, and they just kept coming, and I've harvested so many baskets, you guys, but it has been just such a joy to come out here and harvest these beautiful tomatoes and get to enjoy them. We eat them in everything, but of course the main goal here was to develop a really good salsa. Yay! The day is here! So remember when I planted my salsa garden and I promised you I would share a salsa recipe? Well, the tomatoes and the peppers are all ripe, the garlic is cured, and we are finally making salsa, people. Restaurant style salsa, and all with fresh ingredients from my garden. So let's get started. Jalapenos, my gosh. Yes. Look at all of these. Oh my gosh. And now we are gonna head back over here to our patio and we'll take a look at the garlic that I had set out here on this rack to cure. It is now ready to use. And so what we're gonna be doing is bringing it inside. We'll remove all the dirt and the outer layers, and then we'll be cutting off the stems and the roots, and then just putting it in a nice, dark, cool place for it to be used up throughout the season. All right, so let's get started on our salsa. I'm going for that restaurant style, kind of roasty, smooth, and super flavorful recipe. For this salsa recipe, you are going to need 2 dried guajillo peppers with the stems cut and the seeds removed, 6 Roma tomatoes. My tomatoes were a little bit on the smaller side, so I doubled up for this recipe. Half a red onion, 2 jalapenos, a serrano pepper if you like a little heat, 4 cloves of garlic, the juice of 1 lime, and 1 teaspoon of white vinegar, a 1/4 cup of cilantro, a teaspoon of chicken bouillon, 1 teaspoon of salt, 1/4 teaspoon of cumin, and this is optional, but we ended up adding about 2 to 3 drops of some liquid smoke just for a little extra flavor. So the secret is actually in the roast. I am going to be charring some tomatoes, jalapenos, onion, and garlic to bring out all of that deep smoky flavor. And you really want them to be blistered, softened, and full of color. So I am heating up a cast iron skillet to roast these. We're going to start with our guajillo chilies. First thing I'm going to do is cut off the end like so. And then we're going to get rid of all the seeds that are inside. We'll just kind of shake those out into this bowl here. And then you're gonna toast that in a hot pan or a cast iron skillet briefly, just about 10 seconds for each side. Then after that, you'd want to soak that in some hot water for 10 minutes. Next, you're gonna roast the tomatoes, peppers, garlic, unpeeled garlic that is, and onion until blistered and softened. And I accidentally forgot to add the garlic, so I ended up doing that one separately. Next, you're going to peel that garlic and then go ahead and put all your ingredients in a blender or a food processor. Once you have everything in there, then you're just going to pulse that until smooth, but leave a little bit of texture. And then that's it. All right, so I've got some chips. We have our salsa, and now let's give it a taste. Oh, so good. It definitely has a brightness, but you can taste the roasty flavors of our roasted vegetables. Yeah, that has a really nice flavor. I love this. I always say this is my idea of a really good time. You want to party, get some chips and salsa. I will leave a link in the description to the recipe. So if you guys are interested, I will have a printable version that you can download on our website. And I hope you guys will give us a try. I can't stop eating it. All right, guys, well, that does it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. This was so fantastic to be able to see all of our hard work come together in a wonderfully delightful salsa. I hope you guys will give this a try at home. And as always, if you like this kind of content, be sure to hit that like button and be sure to subscribe. I hope I'll see you again on the next one. Bye.